Different times, different venue, and a different RCB. What a start for Virat Kohli's side to the tournament. They managed to win their first game against Hyderabad by 10 runs, but not without little help from their opponents. Sunrisers Hyderabad with Johnny Bairstow in the middle went from 121 for 2 to 143 for 9. They lost 7 for 22 in 3 overs. They eventually have been bundled out for 153 and they've gone down by 10 runs. That gives us plenty to talk about to the former Sunrisers head coach and Tom Moody. Would be an angry man if he was still in that dugout. And Deep Das Gupta is with us as well on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Tom, if you were in that dugout, what do you be feeling right now?
I'd be very frustrated. The thing is that the Sunrisers started the perfect chase. Obviously Warner was very unlucky with his dismissal, but Bairstow and Manish Pandey, got the team back on track and got them in a position they should have really cruised that game. 2 shots by both those mentioned players, Pandey and Bairstow, were poor timing with the execution of those shots. It didn't really take into account the game situation. There was no need for, the reckless shot of Pandey off the last ball of Chahal, and then Bairstow just had to see through that over and just see the team home, recognising there's potential sort of vulnerability in that middle order.
That's exactly the point. Deep, it was Yuzvendra Chahal who clearly was the bowler above all others. Navdeep Saini had a good day too. But if there was one bowler that you just had to play out and see out, it was Chahal. And you were two of the most experienced Sunrisers batsmen in the middle. Is that where the game was lost?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Tom summed it up beautifully. I think that one over, all they had to do was play that over out. And you had someone like either Washington Sundar or Dubey to bowl a few overs, a couple of them, in fact. So, and they were they needed 42 of 30 at that point in time. It wasn't that they needed more than 10 and over or whatever it was. So I think, it's poor calculation. And as Tom mentioned, listen, there is vulnerability there. There is lack of experience there. Maybe there is talent, but there is like a genuine lack of experience playing big games in these conditions. So they should have acknowledged that and be a little smart about it.
There's just one thing I want to ask you as a follow-up to that, Tom. And what possibly occasioned Johnny Bairstow to take that shot in Yuzvendra Chahal's last over? At the fall of Manish Pandey's wicket, the equation was 75 from 48. And you have the option of either sending Vijay Shankar, who's got a bit of experience, but you send in Priyam Garg, who obviously takes a little time, struggles to get it away. Could that be the reason Bairstow's taken Chahal on? And even so, is that still the wrong call for you?
No, I don't think that the decision to bring Garg to the crease put pressure on Bairstow at all. The game was still very much in control. Bairstow was seeing it like a football and picking off boundaries at will. It was just, I think, a rush of blood from Bairstow. He'll look back on that, and they did sort of pan the camera into the dugout on a number of occasions to him, and you could see the pain he was in. He recognised that, his judgment wasn't quite there on that occasion. He played so beautifully to that point. Yes, he had a couple of half chances, but, they were very difficult chances. But it was just a rush of blood and poor calculation at a critical time.
Takes nothing away from Yuzvendra Chahal, Deep, and from this very first over, he looked a class apart. He looked like the only leg spinner in this tournament so far who's actually managed to turn the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, he's quality, but it's just that he seemed to be in good nick after whatever break we've had 5-6 months. And also, what I really like about Chahal is he's got a big heart. You give him the ball in any situation, he'll bowl for you. He'll give his best to you, whether it's the first six or the death or whatever. And more often than not, he delivers because of that attitude that he has. And today was no different. He was absolutely brilliant.
These are usually part of pre-game team meeting huddles and talks, aren't they, Tom? See out Rashid Khan, see out Sunil Narayan, see out Yuzvendra Chahal. Did the memo just get missed?
Yeah, look, possibly. Those discussions do take place. But I think, when I look at this game, my summary is I don't think we've learned anything more about these two teams. I still think RCB look vulnerable as a defensive side. They got out of jail purely because some reckless batting from Sunrisers, which made their rescue of the game look a lot better. But I think if you peel back the layers, there's still some real concerns with regards to their bowling attack. Chahal was brilliant, Saini was brilliant, but the rest of them, there's some serious question marks around their capabilities to be able to defend under pressure. And with Sunrisers, we haven't learned anything more. We know that they're brilliant up front. We know they've got world-class power up front. But what we also know is their underbelly is very, very thin. Their middle order is very vulnerable, and that was very much on display this evening.
That's an excellent summary, Deep, of both teams. And we knew this of Sunrisers. The one thing we can, again, shower praise on RCB for is wasn't just Yuzvendra Chahal. Navdeep Saini added his little charm as well, his mark on this game too.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got pace, he's sharp. And what I really like was when he came back and bowled those bounces to Rashid. You want that. You want that from your fast bowler, right? Somebody who's quick. You need to tell the opposition, I am quick. So just be careful. He gave away that 4 runs, but that's all right when Rashid Khan stepped out. I mean, that's what I really like about him. I mean, he's kind of at times untamed, which you want your fast bowler to be at times. And that's what I really like about Navdeep Saini. Obviously, he's got the goods as well, and he can deliver.
Now, speaking of Rashid Khan, who's a capable batsman as well, and perhaps had a little more batting responsibility in the absence of Mitchell Marsh, and started well boundary of the first ball. Then that unfortunate incident with him getting hit on the head. There was some quick chat at that time. I know you put out a tweet to that degree too, Deep, on whether a concussion substitute was an option. And maybe a Mohammad Nabi or a Fabian Allen could have been summoned to do that sort of role. Yes, I don't know. We don't know now if it was denied by Sunrisers or if there even was a case. But what happened there?
Listen, when I saw that, I mean, that was cheeky. That was, I really wasn't expecting that to happen. But I'm
seeing the Twitter chat on it, and it actually suggests if there was a head injury, whether
as a strategy, they had that option. I mean, you can. I mean, that would be gamesmanship or whatever you want to call it. But then, I mean, if you see Rashid Khan, well, a bowler who can bat, maybe Nabi, maybe Fabian Allen can fall in that category as well. And I mean, they didn't, and chances are nobody will. But I mean, teams can think about it.
Well, like we said at that time. Yes, Tom, please.
Just on that, what you'll find, I've had a lengthy discussion to match referees and umpires about this particular situation. With the concussion rule, it has to be like for like. So Fabian Allen is not a replacement for Rashid Khan because he's a batsman that bowls spin, and neither would Nabi because Nabi's a genuine all-rounder. To give you the best example of the most, I suppose, profile incident was when Stephen Smith got hit at Lords from Jofra Archer, and Marnus Labuschagne came in as the replacement. Now, it was very clear in that exchange that Marnus Labuschagne wasn't allowed to bowl his leg spin because Steve Smith wasn't seen as bowling regularly with his leg spin. So he only could replace him as a pure batsman, and that was it. So it's very clear. It's very clear that sort of determination who is the exchange. Who it would have been interesting. It probably would have had to been a domestic player. So probably would have been someone like Nadeem, the left-arm spinner.
Sure. Excellent point. Maybe in a year or so from now, Rashid Khan will make a strong claim to be a genuine all-rounder, in which case that opens the door for more options, if he isn't doing that anyway already. One word on Virat Kohli's captaincy, though. There was an interesting deployed, Tom, of using his best bowlers by the time the 18th over was done. You had to bring on a Shivam Dube. It seemed to work because he got the wickets he needed.
It worked because he left himself no choice.
Right.
Because I thought if Sunrisers played the way they should have played and their middle order stood up like they should have stood up, they would have won that game with probably an over or two to spare, because Virat was exposed with Washington Sundar, with the fact that he only bowled the one over. Dube bowled well, but let's face it, if you're relying on him to be bowling in your back 4 overs, you've got real problems. So I think he got away with it purely on the basis how badly Sunrisers dealt with the 12th over onwards from a batting unit.
Right. 3 days of cricket, deep 6 teams that we've seen, it still does seem like everyone's helping the others. There are plenty of unforced errors, plenty of, of shots being fired in your own foot. And maybe it makes for exciting conversation, but we haven't quite seen the high standards of the IPL just yet. Is that a fair comment?
That's a fair comment, and you would be expecting that as well. At least I was expecting that. I mean, playing after 6 odd months, people would be rusty. The players would be rusty. It'll take them a couple of games to get back to 100%. You see a lot of these niggles and all coming up as well because of, obviously, you're playing competitive cricket after so long under pressure and everything else. So, yeah, we've got to kind of keep that in mind and give them a couple of games. I think it'll be fine.
All right. I think that's a fair summation. It'll all be fine. So, so far, Royal Challengers Bangalore on the board, and the Sunrisers Hyderabad will have to fix what's now almost seeming like an age-old problem. But let's hope we see the best of both teams going forward. Tom Moody, Deep Das Gupta, thank you very much. You'll get detailed analysis from both these fine gentlemen on ESPN Cricket Phone. Do join us for a pre-match live show tomorrow before the Chennai Rajasthan game on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket Phone T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Right. Let's get the other thing.
We're going to do it off this, or we're doing it off a new email?
We get off this and join on Zoom.